Okay, last time we have discussed what's mechanism. So it's a collection of bodies which are combined in a certain way to give an output motion, right? Now, how are they combined? What are the possible ways it can be combined? Okay, so the nature of combining two bodies are known as kinematic pairs. Okay, so there are different types of kinematic pairs. So that's what we are going to see in this video. Right. So the first one, okay, so this first one is known as a revolute or pin joint. Okay, so the nature of this joint or this kinematic pair is that this is one body, okay, and this is another body, okay. They are combined in such a way that with respect to body 1, the body 2 will have a motion only by having a rotation along this axis, okay. So while we are rotating, so the theta, so let's mark one line and let's mark another line over here and say the outward, this is the outward normal, and the angle between those two lines will change, and that has been represented by delta theta. Okay, so that is known as revolute pair. Okay, and if you see here one slot, I mean it looks very similar. So once again, this is body 1, this is body 2, they look very similar, but the only thing is there is a slot in this body 1 and there's an additional material added such that this body 2 will only slide along this slot. Okay, it will not be able to rotate like in this case. Okay, and this pair is known as prismatic pair. Okay, so this pair is known as prismatic pair, which is given here. Okay, and this one is revolute pair, and then the third one is, it's also known as screw pair or helical pair. Okay, the way is, once again, if you see, you can have both delta theta and delta s, okay, but they are correlated. Okay, they are not independent. For example, if you change delta theta, delta s will automatically change. Okay, such a pair is known as screw pair. Okay, and this one, if there is no such thread is there in this body, okay, then you can independently change theta as well as s. Okay, and such a pair is known as cylindrical pair. Okay, and this one, so this one is also known as spherical pair. Okay, and once again, this is body 1 and this is body 2. Okay, the body 2 can have a motion with respect to body 1 in the following manner. One is, it can have a rotation along this axis. Okay, and the amount of motion has been defined using theta, so that's the change in theta, delta theta. Okay, and also it can have a motion along this axis, and that's delta phi. In addition to that, it can also have a motion along this axis, delta psi. Okay, so this is also known as ball joint. Okay, so if body 1 and body 2 are connected such that it can have a relative motion, mainly rotation along this axis as well as this axis, then such a kinematic pair is known as spherical pair. Okay, and this F here, you can move, say once again this is body 1, okay, and this is body 2. You can have a relative motion between body 1 and body 2 such that the body 2 can move along, say in this direction, let's call that as delta x, and in this direction, which is delta y. Okay, in addition to that, it can also rotate. Okay, and that rotation is denoted by delta theta. So such a pair is known as planar pair. Okay, such a pair is known as planar pair. So these are the different types of pairs. Okay, so right, and if you notice, those pairs are known as lower pairs. Okay, those pairs are known as lower pair, which means there is something called higher pair, and let's see what is higher pair. Okay, so higher pair is defined such that between body 1 and body 2, okay, the connection is such that they are in contact in the form of line. So if they have a line contact or a point contact, then such a thing is known as higher pair. Okay, if you notice, the pairs which we have discussed will not fall under this category. Okay, so which will fall under this category? For example, so for this gear mechanism, okay, so gear arrangement will come in the line contact, and that mechanism is higher pair, and that kinematic pair is higher pair. And cam and follower, okay, that mechanism is also a higher pair mechanism which has a line contact. And a mechanism which has a point contact, for example ball bearing. Okay, the kinematic pair which has a point contact is a ball bearing. Okay, so one is lower pair, another one is higher pair, and there is one more pair which is known as wrapping pair. Okay, so what is this? So some examples. One is belt. Okay, so the belt arrangement, so a drum is there, and then a belt is there. Okay, such mechanism is so wrapping pair. And also another mechanism, chain, right, chain which we see in our cycles, right, so that is also one of the wrapping pair. Okay, so in this course what we do is we will not consider much of wrapping pair. We will mainly focus mechanisms with higher pair and lower pair. Okay, and also we will consider the bodies as a rigid body. Okay, so we will consider only rigid body mechanisms. Okay, the reason we consider only rigid body mechanisms is because it's easy, okay, for the analysis and everything, and for many cases that's enough. Okay, even when you get into the engineering practice, that will be more than enough. And if you want to know more about non-rigid body or deformable body mechanisms, there's something called compliant mechanisms. Okay, so that's an advanced level course, but here we will focus only the rigid body mechanisms. Okay, thank you.